Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. We've got an absolutely stacked lineup for you today, unpacking 4 truly fascinating current events making headlines on this July 9th. So, get comfortable and let's get ready to build some serious knowledge.
Okay, let's dive into the agenda. Today we're covering 1. Watching the global oceans, 2. Mumbai's historic overflowing lake, 3. Hacking the handloom sector, and 4. Restoring ancient Indonesian heritage. Let's just get right into it.
Section 1. Watching the global oceans, China's marine monitoring.
All right, kicking things off with a quick trivia question for you. Which country recently launched its latest oceanographic satellite, designated HY-2E, or Haiyang-2E? Think about who's really making big moves in space right now. Got a guess?
If you said China, you hit the nail on the head. They just launched this massive piece of tech aboard a Long March 4B rocket, right out of the Jiuquan Satellite Launch Center near the Gobi Desert. Now, what's absolutely fascinating here is the sheer amount of tech packed onto this thing. Developed by the China Academy of Space Technology, the HY-2E isn't just snapping pretty pictures from orbit. It's carrying 4 highly specific microwave remote sensing payloads. We're talking a radar altimeter, a microwave radiometer, a microwave scatterometer, and a calibration radiometer. Basically, this incredibly sophisticated toolkit lets them monitor the global marine environment with mind-blowing precision. But to really get the so what of this launch, we have to look at the bigger picture, their whole orbital network. It's kind of like upgrading your smartphone. The older HY-2B model, launched back in 2018, is officially being phased out. Stepping up to the plate to replace it is our new HY-2E, which is going to actively join the existing HY-2C and 2D models up there. This effectively completes and massively upgrades their active network for 24/7 global ocean monitoring.
Moving on to Section 2, Mumbai's historic overflowing lake, the story of Vihar Lake.
Okay, so Vihar Lake has literally been all over the news lately. But do you know exactly which state it's located in?
If you guessed Maharashtra, you're spot on. So what triggered this recent news cycle? Well, it's the sheer unstoppable power of the current monsoon season. We're talking intense, heavy rainfall that caused this massive, man-made reservoir to actually start overflowing.
Let's trace how this builds historically, because, this isn't just some random puddle. It's a really vital piece of 19th century infrastructure. The British government actually started building this reservoir on the Mithi River near Vihar village way back in 1856. By 1860, the whole thing was finished with one very specific goal: to handle Mumbai's growing drinking water needs. Fast forward over a century and a half to 2026, and it's still playing a critical role, which is perfectly illustrated by the massive overflow from this year's intense monsoon.
So the really crucial point here comes down to the number 7. Why 7? Well, because Vihar Lake doesn't do this job alone. It's actually just one of 7 total reservoirs that work together to quench the immense thirst of modern-day Mumbai. To truly grasp its impact, you have to understand its place within this massive, broader network. Let's map out its exact geography real quick. First off, it holds the title of the largest lake in Mumbai, specifically within the Salsette group of islands. Second, its environment is super protected since it sits right smack inside the Sanjay Gandhi National Park. Geographically, it's sandwiched perfectly between Tulsi Lake and Powai Lake. And finally, its catchment area, basically where it gets all that water that just overflowed, comes primarily from the Powai-Kanheri Hill Ranges.
All right, Section 3. Hacking the handloom sector, Ministry of Textiles Initiative.
So the Handloom Hackathon 2026 was just launched. But under the umbrella of which specific government ministry does this whole initiative fall? Think about the sector we're talking about here.
Yep, it's the Ministry of Textiles. More specifically, this was launched by the Office of the Development Commissioner for Handlooms, which operates right under that ministry.
And this brilliantly illustrates the whole strategy they're pushing. First, it ties directly into National Handloom Day 2026 with a great theme, weaving innovation. From there, it pushes for modern integration. They want to bring fresh tech, brand new design concepts, and crucial sustainable practices to these ancient crafts. Ultimately, the goal is to develop scalable solutions that will drastically boost the handloom sector's global competitiveness.
What makes this a real game changer is the sheer inclusive scope of who's invited to the table. They aren't just tapping tech developers for this. This hackathon is wide open to students, the actual weavers and artisans themselves. The people who know the craft best, plus researchers, dynamic startups, designers, and innovators. They are literally crowdsourcing modernization by bringing absolutely every possible stakeholder together.
Let's jump into our final topic, Section 4, Restoring Ancient Indonesian Heritage, Prambanan Temple.
The Prambanan Temple complex has been making some major headlines recently. Can you pinpoint exactly which country is home to this magnificent site?
The answer is Indonesia. And guys, this isn't just any temple. It's Indonesia's absolute largest Hindu temple complex. It carries immense historical weight, having been built way back in the 9th century during the era of the Hindu Mataram Kingdom.
To truly appreciate this incredible UNESCO World Heritage Site, we really need to understand the concept of the Trimurti. The Trimurti represents the divine trinity in Hinduism. That consists of the creator, Brahma, the preserver, Vishnu, and the destroyer, Shiva. The entire Prambanan temple complex is specifically dedicated to these three deities, which really anchors its profound religious and historical significance.
So why exactly is this 9th century temple in the news today? Well, it's because of a major diplomatic event. A brand new conservation and restoration project was recently inaugurated jointly by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Indonesian President Prabowo Subianto. This India-backed initiative is just a fantastic example of international cooperation. It serves as a direct reflection of India's Act East policy, putting a massive spotlight on cultural diplomacy and a really deep commitment to preserving a shared civilizational heritage between these two nations.
Which brings us to our final thought for today. How does preserving a 9th century shared history actually shape the global alliances of our future? I mean, it really shows us that diplomacy isn't just about trade deals or security pacts, right? It's about acknowledging deep, shared cultural roots that span centuries. Thanks so much for exploring these topics with me today. Keep asking questions, stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.